Hi everyone, I just wanted to talk about my first impressions. This is our first full day here, first impressions of this all-inclusive resort located in Playa del Carmen. It's called Valentin Imperial Riviera, my all-inclusive adults-only resort in Mexico. Just wanted to make this video to talk about first impressions here. Obviously we haven't stayed here the full duration of the trip, but did want to capture some of my initial thoughts about this resort, and those initial thoughts are that I'm very impressed with everything here so far, from the service, the employees, to the food, to the pools, to the beach. Just very impressed. Having been to a lot of other resorts, this is clearly so far one of the best resorts that I've been to. Been to Excellence Riviera, Cancun, Hyatt Ziva, Cancun, Hyatt Zilara, Cancun, Live Aqua, Cancun, Secrets Divine, Cancun. Also been to some of the Riviera resorts. This is Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. Read a lot about this resort before deciding to go here, and so far I'm very happy that we have gone here. We're gonna make our way to the beach area. There's a couple of very large pools. The resort is, I mean, you can go to Google Earth and go to Google Maps, turn on the satellite imagery, look up Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya, and you're gonna see this is a huge territory. And you know what, it's even bigger than you'll think it is. That's certainly the case for me. I was not prepared to getting lost this many times. We finally figured out how to get to our room from the various facilities here, the cafe, going back from the cafe to our room, from the lunch buffet, from the beach, from one of the two large pools. I mean, our building is situated in a very good location next to some of the pools, and yet we still found ourselves getting lost many times over the course of the first 24 hours that we were at this resort. And that's not a bad thing. I do like walking around a lot, and just for me personally, I do like a resort that is very large, lots of space for walking, large pools, large beach area for exploring, and this resort really fits that description so far. For a very tropical feel, you can see there are a lot of trees. Sorry if I'm kind of shaking the camera a bit much. A little bit cloudier now, which I definitely am in favor of, because let me tell you, even though it's the end of September in New York, it was kind of chilly, but as soon as we got here, it was just the humidity here in Mexico. It was just here not too far from Cancun. It was very humid, and that was something that's not too bad. But when it is sunny with no clouds, it is, compared to New York right now, it was a little bit much for me. So today's a nice cloudy day. Not that I'm complaining. I'm actually kind of happy we get a little bit of a rest from the sun. So Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. I read a lot about the resort before deciding to go here. I looked at the pictures. I looked at the maps. I thought, okay, large resort, large pools, seems to get very good reviews, and really the landscaping, the pictures of the pools, it was just, to me, that was okay. I'm very curious about this resort, adults only. You can see on Google Earth that there's a lot of space to walk on the beach. So we're going to talk about first impressions. Food, kind of subjective. I do like the selection of food at the buffet. There's a breakfast and a lunch buffet. At dinner, you can go to some of the restaurants they have there. Subjective, they do have a relatively new coffee area, coffee lounge with pastries, sandwiches, frozen drinks, blended drinks, coffee, and there's also a sports bar. We haven't been there. I don't know if they have any food options, but we went to the French restaurant last night, which was Wednesday, the first day that we were here, and the service was great. I do find the employees to be, just as an understatement, they are phenomenal. So far so good. Our first full day here, Thursday, September 29th. We arrived here on Wednesday morning, and just phenomenal. I understand how hard it is to work very hard consistently, and I think people work here 6 days a week. I understand how hard that is, because for a large part of the last 2 years I did work 6 days a week, but in the heat and humidity to really provide top-notch service. It's not, I'm sure it is not easy, and I don't mean to say that I understand exactly their job responsibilities, but when I see that they're able to maintain that level of energy and that enthusiasm, working in this heat, really in the service industry, I commend them for that. I respect them for that, and they are really working super hard here from everyone, every single person here. So employees outstanding. That's my first impression. The beach area is quite a large area. There are some areas with rocks, so please before you go in the ocean, be careful. I suggest finding a place where other people are swimming and go there. There's kind of an area that's roped off where that's clearly designated for swimming, but there are some areas where you're not going to find any people swimming. Maybe stay out of those areas if you don't know where the rocks are, because I can tell you it's not pleasant to go just into the water not expecting to find a sharp rock. And I'm not saying there are sharp rocks, I'm just saying that just be careful when you go in the water, because it's this isn't High Ziva Cancun where the water is perfectly shallow and you can see everything. So let me give you a good example of that. So here we are. So you can actually really walk anywhere you want on the beach. I mean, of course, if you walk far enough, you're not in front of the resort anymore. But feel free to explore, feel free to walk around. There are some areas, little shallow areas, where you can look for little seashells. Something you can go digging with your feet looking for seashells. And some little areas, very maybe shallow, tiny, little shallow areas. But for the most part, if it's windy, you are going to see waves, which is the case today. I have some other footage on the channel. I'm just going to step right over here. So on a windy day, similar to, we went to the Riviera resorts in Playa Car, which is also in Playa del Carmen, and there can be waves. It's not something that's never going to happen. Based on pictures I've seen, some areas might be more calm. Sometimes it might be more calm than other times, depending on how windy it is. Today just happens to be one of those days where there are waves, so I'm not going to tell you that it's always like this, but since we've only been here one full day. But if you are going in, just go in an area where there are other people. I'll show you there's an area that's kind of roped off a little bit, and that's where you might find some people. We were here early afternoon. And let me see if I can find that area. It's really over there. Let me see. You could probably even see it as I'm zooming in. You can see there might be there are more people in that area. You see there are people there swimming. So go over there where you can see where the rope is. Go next to the rope. You'll find other people there. Because the resort's huge, but it doesn't mean that anywhere in front of the resort is going to be great for swimming. But as you can see, there are some waves. So just be careful. Keep your eye on the ocean, because you don't want to be knocked down, because the water is heavy when there's a lot of it. But as far as the sand, it's very soft. It's very pleasant to walk in, but you might find some plants growing out of the sand in some areas, and they look like this. So just kind of be aware. You don't want to you don't want to step on these little sticks that grow out of the sand. So just be mindful of that. There are some huge rocks that are very buried in the sand, but also like little edges of rocks. They're smooth rocks, but just watch your step, because you don't want to find something unexpected, like, oh, I just stepped on a giant rock. I mean, which is very smooth, but still. But like I said, go over to that area over there where I just showed you. There's a lot of people, and all you have to do is look at the waves. But sometimes if you go a little bit further into the ocean, there'll be fewer waves. Sometimes interestingly enough, there are waves that are just very close to the beach. So other than that, you should have a great time. I will say it is a bit humid. September 29th, September 28th when we arrived. However, that also makes the water very warm, very, very pleasant. Same with the pools. I don't think the pools are heated here, but the pools are very warm. This is the beach area, great for walking. A little bit windy. sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's really sunny, and I would use sunblock. I would take a hat if you have one, because the sun can be a little bit brutal if it's early afternoon when the sun is really at its highest point and there's no cloud coverage. So sorry for that overly long explanation of the beach. It's really great, just you kind of have to walk a little bit that way. Just remember, there might be some rocks, so just be careful, and you'll find maybe more of a crowd of people over there, and just watch the waves and you should be fine. There are waves, we'll go a little bit further into the ocean, and sometimes the waves they'll disappear a little bit, but still, don't be knocked down by a wave. I have before, and I was very embarrassed. So, beach, great pools. They're very large. There's 2 pools. One of the pools is just absolutely enormous and has 2 swim-up bars. Typically, a lot of people there. Some waterfalls. It's over these rock structures. Very pretty. And then the other pool is kind of like a semicircle. It's also enormous, and it's more of a quiet pool. So one thing you'll notice, if you haven't already, is that there's really a lot of greenery here. The paths are just lined with greenery, which just makes me feel very relaxed, because I was working a fair amount of hours in New York, and I really kind of decided that I ultimately needed a little bit of a change of scenery, having not been on vacation in a while, and this is the perfect change of scenery so far. Valentin, Imperial, Riviera. I know that some things can be subjective, but I like the food, I like the selection of the buffet, I really like the employees. Again, I've been to excellent Riviera, Cancun, which some might say is a comparable property. It's a large property with large pools, adults only. And I would say they're definitely comparable, and I like both so far. I like Valentin, Imperial, Riviera very much. Could I see myself returning? Absolutely. If the rest of the trip is as good as this day and a half, first day and a half of the trip. We're leaving on Friday, October 7th. We got here yesterday, September 28th, Wednesday morning. So a week and a half. This is really a large property, which for me is a great thing. I know if you go to the Cancun hotel zone, you'll see some smaller properties, because each resort covers less land, and there's also a lot of resorts that are close to each other, so maybe the beach is more crowded. Here, totally not the case. The beach is not crowded at all. Here's a resort map. So thanks for joining me if you're watching. If you're not watching, it's totally fine. I don't consider my videos very good, even though I do try. So here's the resort. You can see we were just kind of over here. So we're here. Really large area for walking along the beach. There's that pool that's like a semicircle. It's really a large pool. This is the pool that's right behind us, right there. The pool where they have activities, music. Like I said, it's a little bit cloudy. That's why it's kind of not really capturing the sky very well right now. So entrance, you got the restaurants, you have the spa, there's the cafe where they have coffee, frozen drinks, hot drinks, pastries, sandwiches. There's a theater. We haven't been to the theater yet. This is not a pool, it's just kind of a shallow area with pebbles and stuff. So there's a lot of buildings here. We're in building 5 right now. So we're next to the main pool with the activities. We're also next to that semicircle, that huge pool right there. So we're gonna kind of make our way to the pool area just a little bit.
After that, yeah.
Large beach area, large area for walking around. I think the resort has 540 rooms, at least according to TripAdvisor. And I think a couple of the buildings are actually being renovated right now. So if you go to the main, that large quiet pool that's shaped like a semicircle, then you might hear a lot of construction noise, and that's totally fine. Renovations are totally fine. So I think we just you can get to the beach many different ways. I really can't overstate this, how nice it is just to walk around and see nothing but trees. There's some animals here, so many birds here. This video ended up being more like a little tour than a first impressions video, but I'm happy to make more videos later. If not only if I change my mind, but also because I really just appreciate making these videos, so I can have these memories, something to think about when I'm planning my next trip, as I'm working a lot. So far so good, no complaints here. I do always appreciate good service, and especially at the buffet and the restaurants. The employees are really just stopping by like every couple of minutes just to make sure that everything's fine, checking on how the food is. And I really can say that. What did I have at the French restaurant? Had the salmon as the main course. They had this potato cream soup, which I really liked. Some kind of salad, desserts. They had this cannoli. They had this kind of chocolate mousse. I think I may be in the wrong, going to the more of the service entrance. Let's go back out of there, and let's maybe make our way back to the building. Maybe we can look at the pool a little bit before we're on our way. It's already 17 minutes. Valentin, Imperial, Riviera. I heard so much about this resort before we decided to go here, and I'm so happy I did, because sometimes without exploring, I never know what I might be missing, and definitely feel like I would have been missing out. So kind of making our way to the pool area here. So this is
I need a break.